Have you ever been so engaged in something that you lost track of time? Has this ever happened to you? You pick up a book planning to read just a few pages, but suddenly it's 2 a.m. You start doing something fun, like reading a book, and think, just a few minutes. But then, surprise! Hours have passed and it's the middle of the night. Your coffee went cold, your phone buzzed 100 times, but you didn't even notice. You were so into the book that you forgot everything else around you. You were fully engaged, your mind locked in, your emotions wrapped up in the story. You weren't just reading, you were completely lost in the story. The word engage comes from the old French engager, meaning to pledge or commit. Originally, it meant making a promise or taking responsibility. When you engage with something, it's like making a deal. You give your attention, and in return, you get knowledge, entertainment, or a new perspective. You can say, "This book really engages me. I can't put it down." Or, "This story is so interesting, I completely lost track of time." Now, think about a time when a story made you feel something real. Maybe a movie left you speechless, or a speech gave you goosebumps. Have you ever heard a story so powerful it gave you chills? Maybe you watched a movie that made you cry or heard a speech that really inspired you. That's engaging emotions. A great storyteller doesn't just share a story, they make you feel it. This is what it means to engage emotions. A great story doesn't just give you information, it pulls you in emotionally. It's about making emotions feel real, and here's the interesting part. The word engage is linked to binding or holding. That means a good story doesn't just entertain you, it holds your emotions in place. Just like a story can hold your emotions captive. You can say, "That speech was so engaging, I felt every word." A great story doesn't let you go, it makes you feel everything deeply. Or, "That talk was so powerful, it really stuck with me." So, have you ever been emotionally engaged in a way that changed how you saw the world? Has a story ever made you feel something so strongly that it shifted your perspective? Now, let's step into the business world. You're in a big meeting. The company is in trouble. Imagine a critical moment at work where every decision counts. You're sitting at a table and everyone looks tense. The company is facing a serious challenge. Everyone is silent, staring at the numbers. The boss looks at you. What do we do? Nobody knows what to do. Your boss turns to you for answers. How are we going to fix this? This is where engaging in strategic decision-making matters. You can't just react. You have to think. This is where you need to be smart. You can't just guess. You need a plan. You predict. You think 2, 3, even 4 steps ahead. This meaning of engage is close to the original, commitment. You don't just focus on the problem, you anticipate what happens next. Here, engage means taking full responsibility. When you engage in a decision, you're not just making a choice. It's not just about picking an option, it's about standing behind it. You take responsibility for it, you own it. You can say, "We need to engage in better planning to avoid risks." You're not just involved, you're leading the way. Or, "We need to be more involved in planning so we don't make mistakes." It's the same in life. Engaging in your choices means thinking ahead and being aware of the impact. It's not just about choosing, it's about knowing what comes next. So, what does it really mean to engage? It means to connect, to focus, to commit. Have you ever thought about what engage actually means in your daily routine? It means to be fully involved, paying full attention, and taking responsibility. Whether it's with a book, emotions, or decisions, engaging means you're all in. So, where in your life do you engage the most? No matter the situation, reading, feeling, or deciding, when you engage, you give it your full energy. Where do you put your full attention and commitment every day? Imagine standing on a stage. The spotlight is on you. Dozens, maybe hundreds of people are watching. Your heart is racing. You're in front of a crowd and all eyes are on you. The room feels huge and your heartbeat is loud in your ears. You take a deep breath and start speaking. At first, some people glance at their phones. You begin to talk, but some in the audience seem distracted. Others look bored. But then, you crack a joke. Some faces are blank, but as soon as you make a joke, things shift. You tell a story, you ask a question that makes them think. You share something interesting and throw out a thought-provoking question. Suddenly, they lean in. They nod. They react. Now they're paying attention. They listen, agree, and respond. You've done it. You've engaged them. Engaging an audience isn't just about talking. It's about pulling them into your world. You've pulled them in. Now they're fully involved. Keeping people interested isn't just about words. It's about making them feel connected, making them care. You can say, helping them feel like what you're saying matters. You might say, I need to engage my audience with a strong opening. It's like grabbing someone's hand and leading them into a story they can't ignore. Or, I have to grab my audience's attention right away. It's like pulling someone into a journey that they won't want to leave. Now, imagine sitting in a cafe. You're half listening to the music, half scrolling through your phone. Picture yourself in a cozy cafe, casually listening to the background music while checking your phone. Then, an old friend walks in. You haven't seen them in years. Out of nowhere, someone familiar appears. It's been ages since you last met. You talk about small things, weather, work, the usual, but then they ask something real. At first, it's just small talk, simple, everyday topics. Then they ask something deeper. Do you ever miss the old days? You stop and think. Do you ever think about how things used to be? Memories start coming back, and suddenly you're telling stories, laughing, remembering things you forgot. You laugh, share, and relive moments you hadn't thought about in years. Time disappears. That's what it means to truly engage in a conversation. It's not just talking, it's connecting. You lose track of time. This is what it's like to be fully involved in a real conversation. It's more than words, it's about truly understanding each other. You can say, I love engaging in deep conversations with friends. It's like opening a door and inviting someone into your thoughts. Or, I really enjoy meaningful talks with my friends. It's like letting someone step into your world and see how you think. The best talks aren't just about words. They're about meaning. Great conversations aren't just talking. They make you feel something. Now, let's go online. You see a post saying the Earth is flat. You're scrolling through social media and come across a post claiming the Earth isn't round. People are arguing in the comments. Instead of scrolling past, you pause. There's a heated debate in the comments. Instead of ignoring it, you decide to read. Why do they think this? You start reading, researching, questioning. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about exploring ideas. You wonder why they believe this, so you start digging deeper. You're not here to argue. You're just curious about different perspectives. Your brain is working. You're thinking critically. That's another way to engage, not just with people, but with ideas. Your mind is active. You're analyzing and questioning things. This is another way of engaging, not in conversation, but in deep thinking. You can say, it's important to engage in critical thinking before believing something. Before accepting an idea, it's good to think it through carefully. It means digging deeper, not just accepting what you hear. It's like adjusting your focus in a blurry photo. Suddenly, everything makes sense. It's about questioning things instead of believing them right away. It's like switching on a light in a dark space. Suddenly, everything makes more sense. So, what does engage really mean? It means getting involved. What does it actually mean? It's about actively participating. It means making a connection, whether it's with people, ideas, or an audience. It's about creating a real link, whether in conversation, learning, or performance. It's like switching from autopilot to full attention. Where could you use this word in your life? It's the difference between just being there and actually being present. Think about it. Where do you fully engage? Maybe in a meeting, in a deep talk with a friend, or when learning something new. Maybe during a meeting, in a heartfelt conversation with a friend, or when exploring fresh topics. Think about it, and the next time you really engage, you'll know exactly what's happening. Keep this in mind, and next time you truly engage, you'll recognize it right away. Imagine you're standing in front of a crowd. Your hands feel a little sweaty, and your heart is beating faster than usual. You're nervous because you're about to speak in front of people. You look around. Some people are scrolling on their phones, others whispering to each other. No one seems to care about what you're about to say. It feels like no one's paying attention, and that makes you feel even more uncertain. But then, you take a deep breath, crack a joke, and ask a simple question. You try to calm yourself down and make the situation lighter by asking something funny. What's the worst presentation you've ever seen? Suddenly, heads turn. Someone chuckles. Another person nods. You ask a funny question to grab their attention. People start looking at you and some even laugh. You keep going, telling a short, funny story before diving into your topic. Now they're listening. They're focused. You continue with your story and now everyone's paying attention. You've done it. You've engaged your audience. They're not just hearing you, they're paying attention. You've managed to connect with the audience and now they're actively listening. Where else could you use the word engage? Maybe when talking about a great teacher who knows how to make lessons exciting. Engagement happens when someone makes you want to pay attention, like a teacher who makes a class interesting. Or a movie that's so good you can't look away. You can say, that speaker really engaged the audience today. You get engaged in a movie when it's so interesting that you can't stop watching. This means the speaker got the audience involved and interested. You can say, I love this book. It's so engaging. When you engage someone, you pull them in. You make them care. This means the book keeps you hooked and makes you want to keep reading. Engagement is when you get someone involved, when you make them pay attention to you. Now, imagine something quieter. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling. You're lying in bed thinking deeply about things. Your mind is spinning, replaying moments from the day. Why did I react like that? Did I make the right decision? You can't stop thinking about everything that happened today, and you start questioning your choices. These aren't just random thoughts. This is self-reflection. You're engaging with yourself. This is more than just thinking. It's you reflecting on your own actions and feelings. Self-reflection helps us grow. When you really think about your choices, your feelings, and your actions, you start to understand yourself better. By reflecting on yourself, you can learn and grow. You start understanding your actions and feelings more clearly. It's like looking in a mirror, not to check your face, but to check your mind. You see things more clearly. It's like standing in front of a mirror, but instead of checking your hair, you are checking your thoughts. Suddenly, everything in your head makes more sense. Have you ever had a moment like this, when you suddenly realize something about yourself? Did you ever have a time when out of nowhere you understood something new about yourself? Like a little light turning on in your head? You can say, I need to engage in some self-reflection before making this decision. You can use engage when talking about taking time to think deeply before you act. You can say, she's always engaging in deep thoughts about life. Here, engage means to connect, not with others, but with your own mind. She spends a lot of time thinking about life and reflecting on it. In this case, engage means connecting with your own thoughts. Now let's take a totally different turn. You hop into an old car, turn the key, and nothing. You get into your car, turn the key, but the engine doesn't start. The engine won't start. You try again, pressing the clutch, shifting gears. You try again, making sure everything's in the right position, but it still doesn't work. Then suddenly, a click. The gear engages and the car moves forward. Then you hear a click, and suddenly the gear engages and the car starts moving. This is the original meaning of engage, to make things connect, to put something into action. The original meaning of engage is to make something work, to get things going. And it's not so different from the other meanings. When you engage an audience, you make a connection. Just like the gear, when you engage an audience, you make a connection and get them interested. When you engage in self-reflection, you connect with your thoughts. When a gear engages, it connects with the machine to make it work. When you reflect, you connect with your thoughts. And when the gear engages, it connects with the machine and starts working. So next time you use the word engage, think about what's really happening. Whether it's people, ideas, or machines, something is clicking into place. Using engage always means making something connect, whether it's with people, your thoughts, or a machine part. Imagine sitting in a cozy theater. The lights dim and the opening music starts. Picture yourself in a movie theater, the room goes dark, and the music begins to play. You're about to watch a powerful story unfold. The characters on the screen feel real. The movie you're about to watch is going to be very emotional, and the people in it seem so lifelike. You're not just watching them, you're living through them. Every twist, every emotion, it hits you deeply. Instead of just watching, you feel as though you're experiencing everything the characters are going through. You are engaging emotionally with the story. This isn't just entertainment, it's personal. You're not just watching for fun, you're connecting with the story on an emotional level. The ups and downs of the plot mirror your own experiences, and suddenly, you're hooked. The events in the story remind you of your own life, and before you know it, you can't look away. Think about it. When was the last time a story made you feel this way? Can you remember the last time a movie or book made you feel so emotionally involved? You engaged emotionally, right? It's not just about following what's happening. You connected with the story in a way that made you feel strong emotions. It's about connecting with what's going on, feeling each moment as though it's happening to you. It's not only about seeing the plot unfold, it's about truly feeling it as if you are part of the story. You might say, I felt so connected to the character that I almost cried when they lost their job. You could say something like, I was so moved by the character's struggle that I nearly cried when they lost their job. Or maybe, that movie hit me so hard I couldn't stop thinking about it for days. You might say, that film really stuck with me. I couldn't stop thinking about it for days after I saw it. Now, let's switch gears. Imagine you're at a concert. Let's change the scene. You're at a concert, surrounded by people, and the excitement is building. The crowd is buzzing with excitement, and the lights flash in sync with the beat. The audience is full of energy, and the lights are flashing to the rhythm of the music. The band starts playing, and the energy is electric. Instead of just standing there, you decide to engage in the concert. As the band begins, the atmosphere becomes filled with excitement and electric energy. Instead of just watching, you choose to actively join in with the music. You sing along, jump to the rhythm, and just let go. It's like you become one with the music. You start singing, dancing, and losing yourself in the music. You feel like you and the music are connected. You're no longer just watching the show, you're part of it. You stop being just an audience member and become an active participant in the experience. Have you ever been to a concert where you engaged like this? Think about a time when you fully took part in the energy of a concert like this. It's that feeling when the music takes over and you feel every note. It's that moment when the music fills you up and you can feel every beat in your body. When you're not just a spectator but an active participant, you can say, I was totally in the zone, dancing and singing like I was in the front row. When you're no longer just watching, you might say, I was completely caught up in the moment, dancing and singing like I was the star of the show. It's like you're sharing the experience with everyone there. It feels like you and the entire crowd are having the same amazing experience together. Finally, imagine you're in a business meeting. Now, picture yourself sitting in a business meeting. You're negotiating an important deal. The numbers are on the table, but the real conversation is happening under the surface. You're working on a big deal, and while the numbers are important, the real negotiation is about understanding each other. As you engage in the negotiation, you're not just talking, you're listening, reacting, and adapting. While you're negotiating, you're paying attention, responding to what the other person is saying, and adjusting your approach based on their responses. The words are important, but the way you engage with the other person matters even more. It's not just about what's being said, but how you interact and connect with the other person that really makes a difference. You're reading their body language, understanding the unspoken tensions, and making moves accordingly. You're also paying attention to their nonverbal signals, like their body language, to guide your next steps. In this moment, you might say, "We need to engage more on the details to reach an agreement." You might say, "We need to focus more on the specifics to close this deal." Or, "I could feel the tension during the negotiation, but we found common ground." Or, "There was some tension, but we eventually agreed on the main points." You see, engagement in this context isn't just about speaking. In negotiations, engagement means more than just talking. It's about truly connecting. It's about connecting on a deeper level, understanding each other's needs, and working toward a common goal. It's about understanding what the other person wants, building trust, and working together to make a deal happen. It's like when you're not just negotiating, but also trying to build a relationship, creating trust that will last beyond the meeting. It's about building a long-term relationship where trust and mutual understanding go beyond the immediate negotiation. So, what do these examples have in common? What connects these different situations? Whether it's engaging emotionally with a story, engaging in a concert, or engaging in a negotiation, the core idea is the same. Whether you're connecting with a story, participating in a concert, or making a deal, the main point is being involved. It's about getting involved, not just observing from a distance. Engagement means being more than just a bystander. It means taking part and truly experiencing the moment. Engage means to actively participate, to connect deeply, and to be present in the moment. To engage means to take part, connect fully, and live in the moment. So, where could you use engage in your life? Maybe at work, and at a concert, or even when talking to a friend. Think about where in your life you can engage more, at work, during social events, or in conversations with people. Engaging isn't just about being there, it's about fully experiencing the moment. Engagement isn't just about showing up, it's about being present and involved. You can say, "I really engaged with that idea," or "I tried to engage more in the conversation," and you'll be using it the right way. For example, you can say, "I really got into that idea," or "I made an effort to participate in the conversation," to show how you engaged. Imagine this. You're scrolling through your phone, half bored, just killing time. Picture yourself lying on the couch, flipping through posts without really paying attention. Then boom, something grabs your attention. Suddenly you see something interesting and your eyes stop on the screen. Maybe it's a post with a crazy headline or a meme that makes you laugh out loud. You stop, you read, you react. It could be a shocking news title or a funny picture that instantly makes you smile. You pause, focus on it, and maybe even like, comment, or share it. That's engagement. It's when something is so interesting you can't ignore it. This is when something pulls you in and makes you pay attention. It makes you curious and you want to know more. Where have you felt this kind of engagement? Maybe in a social media post, a funny video, a deep conversation? Can you remember a time when something completely caught your attention? It could be a trending tweet, a hilarious TikTok, or a serious talk with a friend. You can say, "This post really engages people." You can also say, "I try to engage my followers with interesting content." Or this post makes people stop and pay attention. Or I try to create posts that make people want to read and comment. At its core, to engage means to attract and hold attention. That's how social media works. If a post isn't interesting, you just scroll past it. The word engage is all about making someone interested and keeping them focused. If a post isn't interesting enough, people will ignore it and move on. But engagement isn't just about screens. It happens in real life too. Have you ever read a book so good that you lost track of time? That's what happens when a story truly engages you. One minute it's 9 p.m., the next it's 3 a.m. and you're still reading. A great book doesn't just tell a story, it pulls you in. It makes you feel things, it makes you think. It brings out emotions like excitement, sadness, or surprise. It makes you wonder about life, people, or new ideas. Just like a viral post, a great book keeps your mind completely focused. But both engage your mind in a deep way. The difference is one is short and instant, while the other builds slowly. Both make you focus, stay interested, and want more. You can say, "This novel is so engaging, I can't stop reading." You can also say, "The author really knows how to engage the reader." Or, "This book is so interesting, I just keep turning the pages." Or, "This writer knows how to keep people hooked on the story." Notice how this meaning of engage is similar to the one before? A social media post grabs you in seconds, but a book keeps you engaged for hours. Now, imagine you're in a cafe. You're relaxed, lost in thought. Picture yourself sitting in a cozy coffee shop, sipping your drink. Then, a tune kicks in, and before you know it, you're not merely sitting. You're completely engaged, lost in the rhythm and vibe. Then, a song plays, and suddenly you're not just sitting there anymore. You're inside the music. Your foot taps, your head nods. You feel it. You start moving a little, feeling the beat. The music connects with you. You don't just hear it, you experience it. That's how music engages you. A great song doesn't just play in the background. That's what happens when a song truly pulls you in. A really good song doesn't just fill the silence, it grabs your attention. It connects with you. Maybe it reminds you of something. It makes you feel something, like excitement, nostalgia, or happiness. Maybe it brings back a memory from your past. Maybe it makes you want to dance. Either way, it grabs your attention and doesn't let go. Maybe the rhythm is so good you just have to move. No matter why, the song keeps your mind focused on it. You can say, "This song really engages me emotionally." You can also say, "Good music always engages the listener." Or, "This song makes me feel something deep inside." Or, "Great songs always catch people's attention." Once again, engagement is all about holding attention. A song, like a book or a social media post, can completely capture your focus. Think about family gatherings. There's always that one person who tells the best stories. Imagine a big family dinner where everyone is sitting and talking. There's always someone who knows how to make a story sound exciting. Maybe it's your grandfather with his old adventures, or your cousin who exaggerates just enough to make things fun. Maybe your grandpa tells incredible stories from his youth, or maybe your cousin adds just the right details to make people laugh. When they talk, everyone listens. That's because they know how to engage people. When they start telling a story, the whole table pays attention. That's because they know how to engage people. Storytelling is all about engagement. It's not just about what you say, but how you say it. A great storyteller knows how to make people listen. The way you tell a story is just as important as the story itself. If the story isn't interesting, people stop listening. You can say, "He really knows how to engage an audience." But a truly engaging story makes people want to hear every detail, or "He's so good at telling stories, everyone listens." You can also say, "She told such an engaging story, I couldn't stop listening." Or, "Her story was so interesting, I wanted to hear more." Do you see the common idea in all these examples? Something engaging makes you feel connected. No matter the situation, to engage means to make people focus and stay interested. When something truly captivates you, it pulls you in and holds your attention. It pulls you in. Next time you hear the word engage, think of these examples. It draws you closer and keeps you hooked. Now, can you think of something that really engages you? Imagine this. You're in a park just enjoying your day when you notice a guy standing still, looking up at the sky. Picture this. You're relaxing in the park when you spot a guy just standing there, staring at the sky. Weird, right? But then another person stops and looks up too. Then another. Soon there's a whole crowd staring at nothing. Strange, right? Then someone else stops, looks up, and before you know it, a whole group is doing the same. A journalist walking by notices and decides to engage with the crowd. A reporter nearby sees the scene and starts talking to people, trying to figure out what's going on. He asks, "What are you all looking at?" "Hey, what's up there? What's everyone staring at?" One guy shrugs. "I think it's a rare bird." Another whispers, "Maybe a UFO." One guy guesses, "Maybe it's some rare bird." Another whispers, "Could be a UFO." The funniest part? The first guy was just lost in thought about what to eat for dinner. The best part? The first guy wasn't looking at anything. He was just zoning out, thinking about food. This is how people engage with each other. They interact, exchange ideas, and sometimes create their own reality. This is how people connect. They talk, share ideas, and sometimes even convince each other of things that aren't real. You might say, "I should engage with more people at work," or "She always engages with the audience during her shows." You might say, "I need to talk to more people at work," or "She's really good at keeping the audience interested." It's all about connection. Where and when do you usually engage with people? Everything in life is about talking to and understanding others. So, where and when do you usually meet and chat with people? Now picture this. You and your friends decide to build a treehouse. None of you know what you're doing, but you go for it anyway. Imagine you and your friends suddenly decide to build a treehouse. You have no clue how, but you're excited to try. Armed with some YouTube tutorials and way too much confidence, you all engage on the project like professionals. You grab some tools, watch a few YouTube videos, and dive into the project like you actually know what you're doing. A few hours in, things go wrong. Someone nails a plank in the wrong spot. Another person accidentally glues their hand to the wood. A few hours later, things are a total mess. Someone hammers a board in the wrong place. Another guy somehow gets his hand stuck in glue. Somehow the entire structure is standing, just barely. Before you can even test it, the treehouse collapses. Technically, the treehouse is standing, but only for a second. Then, boom, it comes crashing down. This is what happens when you engage on something without proper skills, but that's how you learn, right? This is what happens when you try to do something new, but you don't really know how yet. But hey, that's how people get better, right? Someone might say, "We're engaged on a new startup idea," or "He's engaged on writing a sci-fi novel." People sometimes say, "We're working on a new business idea," or "He is busy writing a sci-fi book." It means you're in the process, working on something with focus. Have you ever engaged on something and totally messed it up? It just means being involved in something and putting effort into it. Have you ever started something and completely failed? Weddings are supposed to be magical, but what if things don't go as planned? Getting married is supposed to be special, but sometimes things don't go as expected. At a big family dinner, a guy takes a deep breath, stands up, and says, "Everyone, I have something to say." During a big family dinner, a guy suddenly stands up looking nervous and says, "Guys, listen up. I need to tell you something." The room goes silent. His girlfriend looks up, expecting something romantic. The whole room stops talking. His girlfriend looks at him, waiting for a big romantic moment. He clears his throat. "We're officially engaged to each other." He clears his throat. "We're officially getting married." Silence, confused looks. Then someone whispers, "Wait, isn't this the same girl he was engaged to last year?" Awkward silence. People look at each other. Then someone mutters, Uh, wasn't he engaged to her last year too? Turns out nobody told Grandma that the first engagement didn't work out. Apparently, Grandma never got the memo that the first engagement was called off. She gasps, drops her fork, and mutters, "Again? How many times are we doing this?" She gasps, drops her fork, and says, "Wait, again? How many more times is this happening?" The bride laughs, the groom turns red, and the whole family starts whispering. The fiancé bursts out laughing, the guy turns bright red, and the whole family starts whispering. This is what it means to engage to someone. It's about commitment, sometimes with a little drama. Getting engaged is a big deal, but let's be real, sometimes it comes with unexpected drama. You could say, she just got engaged to her college sweetheart, or he's planning to engage to her next spring. You might say, she just said yes to her college boyfriend, or he's planning to propose next spring. It's a big deal. Would you rather have a small private engagement or a big celebration? It's a huge moment. Would you prefer something quiet or a big party? Let's change the scene. You're throwing a birthday party, but you want something unique. Now imagine this. You're planning a birthday party, but you don't want the usual boring stuff. A magician? Too cliché. A clown? No way. A live band? Too expensive. So you engage a storyteller for the night. A magician? Too predictable. A clown? Definitely not. A live band? Way too pricey. So instead, you hire a storyteller. At first, people are skeptical. A storyteller? Really? At first, your friends look at you like, wait, you hired a guy to tell stories? But then the guy starts talking and everyone is hooked. Even the guy who never puts his phone down is sitting there, eyes wide, completely focused. But once he starts, everyone's listening. Even the guy who's always glued to his phone is suddenly paying attention. The best part? The storyteller spins a tale about a stolen sandwich so funny that people are crying from laughter. The highlight? He tells a story about a stolen sandwich that's so hilarious, people can't stop laughing. When you engage someone for a task, it means you hire them. When you bring someone in to do a job, that's what this phrase means. You might say, we engaged a chef for our anniversary dinner, or they engaged a coach for their soccer team. You can say, we hired a chef for our anniversary, or they got a coach for their soccer team. It's about bringing in the right person for the job. What's the coolest person you've ever engaged for something? It just means choosing the right person for the task. Have you ever hired someone amazing for something? So, what do all these meanings have in common? What's the common thread between all these situations? Whether you engage with people, engage on a project, engage to someone, or engage for a job, it's all about getting involved. No matter if you're connecting with people, working on something, making a commitment, or bringing someone in for a task, it all means being part of it. It's about stepping into something, committing, interacting, or taking action. It's about jumping in, sticking with it, talking to others, or just going for it instead of waiting. Life's more fun when you engage with it. Don't just watch. Jump in. Life is way better when you take part in things. Don't just stand by, get involved.